Back. Hi, everybody. This is Sherry Clark, and Jack and I live here just north of Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. And Dr. Mark DeBrincat, that we get to have on here every week. Dr. Mark is just below us down in Florida, and we welcome you on here. We're excited to have you on here and to share about these amazing molecules. It's been exactly right now, 12 years ago that Jack had such a huge miracle with this technology. After he had had a treatment for some very angry cells, and that put him to bed for 4 months in the worst agony. It was just horrible. He could do nothing. And it was right now, this week, that that happened. And we look back and think, he wouldn't be here. He wouldn't have lived much longer way back then. So to think that you could drink these molecules in this blue bottle and live 12 more years and he's doing better, better, better all the time, it's just amazing to me. So I was so fortunate. We had moved that year. We had built a home and moved, and I needed a new chiropractor, and I met Dr. Mark's wife at a cancer support group. And I thought, wow, she looks way too healthy to be here. She, and so I looked at her afterwards and said, why are you here? And she said, my husband's the chiropractor right there, and pointed to his door that was next to where we were. And the next morning, I was in there on his chiropractic table. And we had the best time just talking different therapies and finding out that I had suffered for 15 years with something. Jack was going through, had just been through something horrible, and didn't have a clue what Dr. Mark and his wife had been through years before. He can talk about that. But this product has been just as much a miracle for him as it's been for us. And we are so blessed that he has spent the last 10 and a half years sharing this with his patients, and that we've been able to be a part of that and sharing with you on here. So what we do each week, we just pick a different topic, and it kind of depends what people bring up during the week. And this week it was just everybody going, I'm tired, I'm so tired. And for different reasons, some people, like Laura and I talked to somebody last night, and sometimes you're tired because you have health issues. Sometimes you're tired and you don't know why. But Dr. Mark's going to explain that to us today. Maybe what makes us tired, what goes on in the body, and how these redox signaling molecules can help. So I'm going to turn this call over to him, and then afterwards, Laura's going to give us her great testimony. So, Dr. Mark?
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. Today's talk is all about energy in the body, how we're creating it, how we use it, and certainly how we sustain it. So before I get into it, let me go ahead and share my screen. So we are brand partners with a company called ASEA, and we are going to be talking about these redox signaling molecules this evening. And I just want to make it clear that we're not here to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases or conditions. We're going to talk about how our body heals from the within and how we can do supplements and things to help enhance that process. So, as I mentioned, tonight's talk is all about our energy in the body. What gives us that oomph? What makes us have the power to sustain our day and to heal from within? And so our body is energy. Every cell in your body holds between about 70 and 100 millivolts of a charge. Okay. And we use that energy to move, to heal, for basic survival. Um, I have a little ping pong ball here that has two metal leads on it. And to prove the point that we're bioelectrical, when I touch one finger onto one lead, and then I complete the circuit with the other hand, what happens is, oh, I think I just dinged the battery. Oh, it's supposed to light up and make all sorts of fun noises. So but we use this in demonstrations with the crowd, so everybody can hold hands, and then the last two people connect the circuit by touching this, and it lights up. So we are all connected through energy, about 70 to 100 millivolts per cell, and we use that energy certainly to be able to communicate from cell to cell along with that. So this fun fact is your body makes something called ATP, and that ATP comes out of our mitochondria within the cell. Now, the ATP that we're making, we're using that to power and charge our cells. Like we need that potential in the cells just to stay alive. Now, the fun fact is we go through our entire body weight every day is how much ATP we actually utilize just to keep charging our cells. Think about gasoline in your car and how much fuel you need to keep your car going. Well, we use the equivalent of our body weight. Now, at any given time, there's only about 40 grams of ATP in our cells right now, but we're using the redox signaling molecules to keep charging those cells. So think of the redox is the potential being gained back into a battery when you're charging it. So when we sleep at night, we make a lot of potential, and we're going to use that potential to, basically get us through the day. And when we talk about the ATP charging the cell, think of this little toy top. And when you pull the string, it zips around that cell, but then it slowly starts to slow down. Well, think of the ATP as the top, and the redox signaling is the string that has to keep pulling it literally thousands of times a day to keep our cells going and to keep them charged. Well, ATP provides us that energy, but it's still not enough. You can have power on your cell phone and maybe even take a video, but you can't communicate. You can't send it to anybody without service. So think of the redox signaling molecules as giving our cells services, like sending messages, asking for help, and how to communicate and function properly. So what are redox signaling molecules? Well, the word redox comes from reduction and oxidation. So reduction is when you take the stress off of a molecule by adding an electron to it. You just reduced its stress and made it balanced. And then oxidation is when we lose an electron. So redox is nothing more than a transfer of electrons from one molecule to the next. And with that, it's sending all sorts of valuable information that our cells need in order to heal, repair, remodel, and basically function properly. So our redox signaling is charging our cells. We know that when we have a low battery or low potential is when the disease processes affect our cells. And conversely, when we have high potential, we're going to produce better versions of those cells. And those cells are going to be more viable. They're going to last longer with a charge on them. And they're going to perform and do the function in which they're supposed to do. So many years ago, my wife and I were in a terrible accident and head on collision with an 18-wheeler and needed a lot of healing. And I tried everything for so many years. It took me 17 years to finally find my breakthrough. But within that time, so many things we tried just didn't work. And there was a few years that I almost gave up and I was confined to a wheelchair. I finally let them medicate me. And then I had this epiphany that, you know what? My body is always making new versions of my cells. So what's to say that I can't make a better version the next time around? I got to get my attitude better because when you're depressed and you're sad and you're hurting, all of those things are just stealing that charge away from my battery. So what am I supposed to expect? A low functioning cell is going to all of a sudden produce a high functioning cell. No, I had to start doing a lot more things to focus on cellular healing. And in doing that, we finally found our breakthrough. And so, in normal cases, aging and the stresses that you're under, you don't have to be old to lose the battery potential. The aging and the stress that we're under are causing our communication within those cells to become weaker. Okay. And our natural production of these redox molecules is going to decline. And so, have you ever had one of those devices that has a rechargeable battery in it, but after so many years, no matter how long you charge it, it's just not going to hold a charge anymore? That's kind of what aging does to our cells by having a lack of these redox signaling molecules. So, this is where external support may actually help our optimal cellular function. Think of it like the care you give yourself today creates the growth we're going to see tomorrow. It takes consistency in all that we do to try to find that better version of yourself, that better version of that next cell. And when I found ASEA, I didn't really know what it was at first. It sounded great because we're talking about cellular health, and I'm all about trying to find that breakthrough and focusing on cells because the cells are what become the tissues, which become the systems and the organs in the human body. So it makes sense to go back to the beginning where that healing starts. So, introducing this amazing product now as a supplement from the outside, we actually have contained these redox signaling molecules, very high energy molecules, super tiny, like they don't need an invitation. They can go through any cell, turn on and off, and activate switches to create more function in the cells. The middle product is the systemic drink. And this really is the flagship product because when we're drinking it systemically, it literally is spreading through literally every cell of our system and helping our bodies find that much better version of ourselves. Then the one on the left is a much higher concentration of that same liquid. This is where we can put it on the skin and on our body topically in areas that we might need additional healing. Rather than waiting for the tide of the entire body's potential to raise, we can literally target certain areas and turn around that healing process so much faster. And the one on the right, that is infused with 24 karat gold to literally drive down one pathway only, the one that's helping regulate inflammation. So many people understand that when there's inflammation, usually there's pain. When there's chronic inflammation, which means it just stays on all the time, well, that leads to chronic diseases and autoimmune disease disorders. And so these are an amazing support that we can give our body to truly charge itself and give it the potential and the communication power that we had when we were much younger and more vibrant and more healthy. So our patients that we turn this on to for over a decade now, they're reporting, hey, one of the most common things that they're saying is they have more energy. They're recovering faster. They used to not bounce back so quickly when they ever had an injury as compared to when they were younger. And now all of a sudden they're like, I thought I was going to be really sore today and I was fine. And then, of course, just their overall wellness. Because when you're focusing on being healthy and doing all the healthy habits, sometimes you need that little extra boost just to make that difference, to find that breakthrough. Now, once we're healthy, it doesn't take as much energy, effort, or outside intervention to maintain our health. But to find that health, so many people give up too soon. It's like we want to squeeze the tree and think the fruit's going to pop out faster. Okay. Unfortunately, healing doesn't always happen that way. And we have to treat the body and then we wait. And then we treat, then we wait. And I did that for decades as a chiropractor. And the nervous system is the longest cells that have to repair themselves. It takes the longest to turn over your nerves. And so we would wait a lot and hope that the treatments we're doing were really making that impact. Well, one of the greatest things ever is when I found this product that our patients weren't having to wait as much. It was like it was happening so much faster. And that truly, I still learn more and more about how that even happens and why all of a sudden these amazing molecules can help us maintain that charge on ourselves throughout the day. Because inevitably, our cells are going to be depleted. The more potential we use, the more activity and the more things that we're doing, we're just running ourselves down all day long. When we sleep at night, we're going to recharge our brain cells, especially, and those brain cells then will be able to send information all day long. So it's that connect the dots between how our body makes energy and how our body communicates. And when we realize that the same thing that's helping make the energy are the same molecules of communication, we just truly and wonderfully appreciate these amazing redox signaling molecules that much better, because at the heart of them, they're helping us create that energy and cell signal. And then you can just leave the intelligence to your body. It knows how to heal you. It knows what every one of your 100 trillion cells functions are supposed to be. And it can diagnose, treat, and remodel or even replace those cells. And guess what? It does it all in the dark. That to me was the most astonishing part of it all, is that your body's got 65 quadrillion chemical reactions happening every second. And those reactions need potential, they need power, and they need redox signaling. So the truth is you wouldn't live for 3 minutes without being able to make these on your own. And so why do you need them? Hey, we live in a very toxic world. And compared to when we were children, decades ago, for some of us, um, times were different. We didn't have the pollution. We didn't have the chemicals. We didn't have the air smog and the water and the ground. And our food actually had more nutrients in them. We become so depleted as we become overpopulated. And the big industry is all about trying to feed us all. But unfortunately, they're feeding us with a lot of empty calories. And so that's not helping us make these molecules as we should be making them. So even children now are ending up with adult diseases. So this is an amazing product, and it's truly going to help your body do what it was designed to do: heal itself. Okay. Sometimes we just need to get out of the way, give it the right fuel, give it the right potential. But when we have proper energy and we have proper communication, we're going to have what we call optimal function. And that optimal function is going to bring out a side of you that you might not have seen in years or even decades for some of us. So, are you ready to take that next step? This is such a simple process, and it will be your alpha product. It'll be the most amazing product out of all the different supplements and the things we do for our health. This is certainly one that my body hopes I will never run out of. And I will do my best to keep replenishing it and keeping my body healthy, because I'm always still making new cells. Now, I've been free of my wheelchair and all the meds that they had me on for almost 11 years now. And it was the same year that I found these molecules that I just had so many breakthroughs back to back to back. And I'll never look back. And so I hope this was inspiring to you, that really the core of all your healing starts and begins at the cellular level. So you're going to see as we move forward, just in time, the focus of healthcare is going to stay away from so much trying to manage symptoms, and people are going to start focusing on what we can do to create healthier cells. When we focus at that cellular level, we're going to find such amazing breakthroughs that you didn't realize you could actually achieve. So that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and pass this back. You have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week.
And isn't it great that the only place that you can get these molecules is from ASEA? And everybody's talking about cellular health, but none of their stuff, I don't care what it is, medicine or nutrition, energy products, nothing would work if you didn't have communication molecules. So this needs to be the foundation of everything else that anybody chooses to do to maintain or recover their health. So I don't even know, maybe 6 months ago, Laura,
Mhm.
we, Jack, I couldn't go that day. Jack went to a church lunch and sat next to Laura and her husband Chris, and Jack never goes anywhere without the new gold for inflammation and pain. It's always in his pocket. And my understanding is that Chris had what kind of gone
Like a
down a ladder
fractured bone, fractured wrist. Nothing you could do, just has to heal on its own, but it would hurt him all the time.
and it'd been what, a couple years since that
Yeah.
happened.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So Jack gets out his handy dandy tube of the redox signaling molecules with the 24 karat gold and says, "Here, put this on." So what happened to Chris?
What's so funny because he goes, try it, I'll take your pain away. Chris goes, yeah, right, because he's a nurse. He goes, yeah, but okay, I'll just try. What the heck? So he puts it on. 5 minutes later, he goes, oh my gosh, there's no pain. I'm like, in 5 minutes, give me a break. And so he was hooked on ever since and uses it all the time. So on his aches and pains, because he's 68 years old and he's on the go 8 hours a day on our big property. So he's always on the go, go, go. But that's his story. But I got a different story. You want me to share that?
I absolutely want you to share
Okay,
that.
so I have been using Renew 28 for 10 years before I ever joined the business 6 months ago. And it was because I always had autoimmune and some food allergies, and I never know. It just didn't, it was no rhyme or reason. I would just eat something and my whole torso would break out with red dots. And I was always taught to put that on. And most of the time, I'd wait 5 minutes, put it on it again, and it's completely gone. And I lived like that for years. And it could be, I wouldn't get an attack maybe 4 months, 5 months, and then I'd have maybe two or three in 1 month. It never rhyme or reason. And then I would have a little eczema, psoriasis on my elbows. And it a couple days, it went away. So when someone told me about the business, and it was like God works with me in threes. So three people in 1 month told me that they had big results from their cancer. God gave up on them. They started using
So
this,
we
and I'm
can't
like,
say diseases. So you
right,
have to
right.
dumb it down.
Okay. Okay. So
Angry
I was,
cells.
and I didn't say cure. I said they made them better. But anyway, they had cancer and they used it, and it was like signs. I'm like, okay, there's my sign. And right after I learned that, I diagnosed with Lyme disease. And so, what I have seen a result on is my blood work always for 5 years showed I had low white
Now
count, I
don't
think it
don't
is.
forget you have to
Oh,
dumb it down and say
uh,
symptoms.
okay, got it. Symptoms, yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's just say my blood work looked better.
Okay.
Let's say that my sleep is so much better. My skin, I don't get the patches anymore. And I told Sherry a couple days ago, I said, you know what? I've noticed that I'm stronger. I'm 63 and I lift more weights than I've ever lifted my whole life. And I used to be a marathon runner. So I'm like stronger. So that is huge. I feel like I'm like, wow, I need like every 2 weeks, I'm upping my weights, upping my weights. My husband goes, you better be careful. You're 63 years old. I go, but I feel stronger. So, and then my eyes, I've always, since I was 52, I've always got new glasses every single year. And so when Sherry told me to put a drop
New
and
ones meaning you needed stronger lenses.
yeah, I needed stronger lenses.
Your
Yes,
eyes
yes, yes,
got
yes,
worse.
yes, every year. So Sherry says, we'll put some drops. I didn't know. I thought, okay, maybe one drop. So one drop in the morning in each eye, one drop in the evening in each eye. And I noticed, hey, I don't have to get glasses. So my eyes have gotten a teeny, I mean, really little bit better, but I didn't have to get glasses again. So now it's been a year and a half. And so last night she goes, yeah, put some more drops in. So last night I'm dropping all these drops in the morning and the evening. But so I'm hoping, and she's hopefully going to have a topic on the eyes because I just thought you could just do one drop. But I have seen significant improvement in all parts of my body, from blood work to skin to everything. So that's my story, and I'm
Laura
sticking
would
to it.
call me all the time. My throat is burning, my esophagus, I'm on fire. What have you got? What have you got? I'm in so much pain. I mean, she would drive over here and get a papaya
Bottle.
enzyme that I've taken for 30 years. I don't have to take anything anymore. And I have bottles of it still here, natural, made from papaya. But she would drive a half hour each way just to pick up my bottle because She was on fire in her esophagus from the acid going up there. And I don't hear her say that anymore.
Mm-mm.
I'm talking, she called me a lot about that.
Yeah, that was my worst. But all my symptoms from the skin to my hormones to thyroid, everything was out of whack because they don't know how long I had it. I knew I was fighting something for 20 years, but I still don't know how I got the Lyme disease because I didn't get bit by a tick. So anyway, so
I
I'm
know
much
there's
better.
so many ways that you can get it now, unfortunately.
Yeah. So
But there's some great testimonies on that. So I know with everything else you do, she's learning, she's doing so many great things to get her health back. But again, she totally comprehends that the foundation of all of that is this, because of what it's done for she and her husband, Chris. And
yeah, and I
now
hope
she's
to get back on and share my complete story because I'm still going through some things, but it's been drastically changed already.
Can you believe she's 63? I just look at her and I am like, there's no way. So
Yeah.
it's just awesome. The other thing that I remember so much is if we were talking later in the day, you go, I'm really tired. I hit a wall. I gotta go. And she would hang up. I mean, that was it. She was done. She was spent like on a dime. Her
Mhm.
body was just. Last night, we're doing a Zoom from 7 to 8, and you had another call at 8, and you were still going. And when I met you, you probably would have been curled up in bed by then or
Mhm.
on the sofa or whatever. So I see a huge difference in your energy. So she's totally awesome to team with, and she's helping others. We did a really important one earlier today.
Mhm.
And she's just huge about reaching out and helping people that are really suffering. And I love her heart. And
Mhm.
they're fun besides that.
We
So,
do. We're like, Sherry, you want to go have some fun? Let's go have some fun.
so you just got to learn when you're in your 80s to hang with younger people like Laura.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on here. I know how busy you are, so I appreciate it. Um, and for any of you on here that are guests or that are listening to this recording, we do this call again in 4 hours from right now. So look at your clock. Send the link to somebody who will be awake. Some of you will be asleep at that time, but the other side of the world will be on and we'll do this call again. Um, and get back with the person that invited you. We're all about educating. That is number one for us, as it is for Dr. Mark. He is all about educating people about the body. So get your questions answered. We want you to feel comfortable. Nobody's here trying to sell. We're here trying to help people have a better quality of life. So uh, there are some great specials right now. So ask the person that invited you. I was adding up all that we saved your friend today, and it was with the special that they have going right now, it'll be up around $200 that she saved below wholesale. So, I mean, it's great, when you can help people get a great price on improving their health. So, thank you all for coming on, and we'll see some of you again in 4 hours. Have a great day, and appreciate it. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Dr. Mark.